LWO1 WeatherNet. Liftoff conditions looking pretty good.
ESTS is ready for launch.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Falcon 9 has cleared the tower.
Ten, 9, 8,
Side booster ignition.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Ignition and liftoff. In Boca and full. Go Falcon, go Cosmo. And that's what we call gimbaling, and that turns the rocket horizontally. That's what we call a gravity turn. We're still going up, but we're now also heading horizontally away from the launch pad. The rocket typically needs to go
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
We need to go about 17,500 miles per hour horizontally in order to avoid being pulled back down to Earth.
Max Q.
And there we heard the call out for max Q. We have now passed through the maximum aerodynamic pressure. This is the largest structural load on the vehicle. And with that, we do have 5 events coming up back to back. They'll happen within seconds of each other. And these events include the first stage making its way back to landing zone 1 today. So we'll have MECO, main engine cutoff, stage separation, a flip of the first stage, SES1, or second stage engine start 1, and then followed immediately by the boost back burn on the first stage. Again, that's 5 events happening within seconds of each other. We should get some good views of these happening. Again, that is MECO, stage separation, S1
Vehicles
flip.
on a nominal trajectory.
Good call outs there. So stage 1 flip, SES1, and the boost back burn coming up here in a few seconds.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
And back ignition.
Stage 1 boost pack startup.
And some incredible views from the ground cameras. We actually got to visually see MECO stage separation and see the first stage flip on your screen. That was incredible to see. Now what you're seeing on your screen on the left-hand side is the first stage, currently in its boost back burn. That is the first of 3 burns to make its way back to land. And on your right-hand screen, we do have the second stage engine lit up, and so far looking really good on a nominal trajectory.
Stage 1 boost pack shutdown.
And we heard that call out that the boost back burn has ended. Now in a few seconds here, we should see the fairing halves on the second stage being deployed. We've got some awesome views here. The left-hand screen is showing the first stage. with the grid fins deploying on your screen.
Bearing separation confirmed.
And we heard that call out and visual confirmation on your right-hand screen that the fairing halves have deployed. They're now making their way back to Earth, and we will attempt to recover them with our recovery vessel named Bob today. Incredible views today. Got some great ground views of the vehicle as it is making its ascent. And we are T plus 4 minutes and 23 seconds into today's mission, and we're currently in the first of 2 planned MVAC burns for satellite deployment. Now at T plus 6 minutes and 11 seconds, you should see on your screen the first stage's entry burn. That entry burn will be the second of 3 burns needed to make its way back to landing zone 1 today. And for the entry burn, we relight 3 of the 9 M1D engines, and that starts with the center E9 engine, followed by the E1 and E5 engines, and that helps to slow the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. And we need to slow the vehicle down to reduce...
Both vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
Great call-outs, everything's looking nominal. And for that entry burn, we do need to slow down the vehicle to reduce the re-entry forces. That helps us to recover and reuse the first stage.
Stage 1, entry burn startup.
We heard the call out, and you can visually see on your screen that the entry burn has begun on the first stage. Again, this helps to slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. It's only about a 20-second burn.
Stage 1, entry burn shut down.
And we heard that call out for entry burn.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
We heard the call out that the entry burn has completed, and you can see that the engines have shut down on your left-hand screen. That is 2 of the 3 burns. The last burn will be the landing burn. You could see in the background of your left...
Stage 1, FTS has saved.
Both vehicles are on nominal trajectories.
Good call-outs there, and you can see the land in the background view of the first stage as it's making its way back to landing zone 1.
Stage 1, transonic. Stage 1, landing burn.
The landing burn, wow, incredible views of this landing burn of this first stage. Let's see if we can touch down on landing zone 1 today. What an incredible sight to see. We have touchdown of Falcon 9 at landing zone 1. This is our 104th recovery of an orbital class
Terminal
rocket.
guidance.
And that includes first stage landings for both Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. And speaking of Falcon Heavy, today's flight marks the first time that we have reconfigured a Falcon Heavy side booster to a Falcon 9 mode, which is pretty awesome. Now next up, we will have the shutdown of the MVAC on the second stage. It's coming here in about 10 seconds, and that is called SECO-1, or second stage engine cutoff 1.
SECO-1.
Just heard that call out for SECO-1, just waiting for
Nominal orbit insertion.
And there it is. We got a confirmation of good orbit. Now the mission isn't over just yet. The second stage is now embarking on its first coast phase. And after the coast phase, we will light that MVAC engine for a second time around T plus 56 minutes. So we'll see you back here in about 45 minutes. And in the meantime, enjoy the space tunes.
Expected LS Cape.
Welcome back to the webcast of the Falcon 9 mission carrying the COSMO-SkyMed satellite for our customer, Thales Alenia Space. We've had a nominal mission so far. Falcon 9 launched on time at 6:11 p.m. Eastern Time from Space Launch Complex 40. We successfully recovered the first stage back on land tonight, and that was the third land landing for this specific booster. While second stage completed its first burn, taking the COSMO-SkyMed satellite into initial parking orbit. Now we're just a few seconds away from the second ignition of the MVAC engine carrying the second stage and COSMO-SkyMed into the orbit needed to deploy the satellite.
MVAC startup. And shutdown.
And there we got a quick view. Just waiting for confirmation of good orbit here.
Nominal payload deploy orbit.
And great news, we just had SES-2 and SECO-2. It was a quick 3-second burn. We also got confirmation of a good orbital insertion. The COSMO-SkyMed satellite is still attached to Falcon 9's second stage, and payload deployment is planned to occur around 2+1 hour. And as a reminder, the mission today is for our customer, Thales Alenia Space, and the constellation is owned by the Italian Space Agency and Ministry of Defense. To help us better understand the capabilities of the COSMO-SkyMed constellation, here's an explanation from the Italian Space Agency's President and Head of Programs Directorate.
The COSMO-SkyMed Second Generation is a constellation of 4 satellites equipped with a synthetic aperture payload able to acquire images in any part of the Earth's surface with an unprecedented resolution and image quality. The COSMO-SkyMed satellites, like the optical systems, are able to operate during the night and in presence of clouds. This is thanks to the specific frequency used for the acquisition. The antenna is totally new and is able to acquire simultaneously images at a very big distance between them, and the data acquired contain a lot of new information with respect to the past generation. For the better use of the satellites and the exploitation of data, we have developed a new control center and processing center in Italy. This will enable the development of new science and new services application for the benefit of citizens, institutions, and entrepreneurs.
COSMO-SkyMed constellation is not only a very important technical instruments in the field of Earth observation, but is also an important support to the strategy of Italy to international collaboration. Thanks to COSMO-SkyMed over the years, and even more will be in the future with the enlargement of the constellation, we can establish collaboration with other countries to share use of data provided by the constellation and to enlarge the coverage of the planet with other instruments offered by partners. I'm talking about so far, for example, Argentina. We plan in the future to do collaboration with Israel and so on. Also very important is the fact that we use COSMO-SkyMed as third-party contributor to the Copernicus program of the European Space Agency and the European Union. In this way, we offer important strategic and precious data to collect with our constellation, also to other partners, to other producers of data for the benefit of Europe and the rest of the world.
If you're just now joining us, we had an on-time launch at 6:11 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by successful ascent, stage separation, first stage landing, and 2 second stage engine burns. Now, the booster that supported today's COSMO-SkyMed mission successfully landed for the third time back on land at Landing Zone 1. And we have just one more major milestone coming up, and of course, that is the deployment of the COSMO-SkyMed payload from Falcon 9's second stage. And we're coming up on that in a few seconds here, and we've got a great live view.
Payload deploy confirmed.
Incredible view of the COSMO-SkyMed satellite drifting away from our Falcon 9 second stage. That is visual confirmation of payload deploy. And that will also bring our webcast to a close. All of us here at SpaceX want to give a big thank you to our customer, Thales Alenia Space, for entrusting us with today's mission for Italy's space agency and Ministry of Defense. We also want to give a shout out to the Range and Federal Aviation Administration for supporting today's mission. And of course, thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in. Have a great night, and we'll see you again soon.